So I'm now recording in Vlog, and I'm doing it so that I can learn more about the editing process of video, because yes, I could just record in standard and let the color just be what it is, but I really want to learn, like I do color editing in Lightroom and Photoshop, I want to learn how to do it in video. And Vlog is really the best way to do it, because you get this sort of neutral, flat image that's very raw, and then it has the most dynamic range, so you can bring back shadows and highlights and do whatever you need. And so that's why I'm recording in Vlog. And I'm also about to experiment in, because I'm not sure if I really love Final Cut Pro yet. I don't have Adobe Premiere, and I'm not sure if I want to upgrade my Adobe plan, because I've heard some people are not happy with Adobe Premiere, and if it's like what Adobe is doing to the other software, it's probably slower than others. Yes, Premiere is like the standard for the most part, but it's slower than, if you don't have like a super fast machine, which I don't have, then you're not gonna get great speed results out of Premiere. So because I'm not so sure if I like Final Cut Pro, I'm going to give DaVinci Resolve 14, I think is the version, a try. It is free, and I'm going to try the free version. There is a paid version, which is still affordable, that I could always upgrade to if I wanted to, but I don't know if I need it. And just basically want to be able to take control over the Vlog recordings. My first test with it, I found out that it doesn't handle the 4K footage in MOV format from the GH5. So I'm going to try it in the MP4 format and see if it does a better job that way. I am off to meet up with a friend. A friend just photographed a house locally, and I'm gonna go meet up with them for some lunch, some coffee, maybe an iced coffee because it's pretty hot here today in New Jersey. And gonna talk about what he does to these houses, because he's doing real estate, but it's unique. It's not your normal come photograph 1 room, 2 room, 3 room, etc. and walk out. It's a whole process. So you can learn about it. So I'm here with my friend Daryl, and we just had some lunch, and now we're outside, and we got some coffee. And I wanted for Daryl to share what he does. You can even talk about what company you're doing this for if you want to. That is like, look at this. There's a plant right here that really wants to eat Daryl.
This is caused by you. First it was Vader, now it's a tree.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Vader first. All right. The company that you're doing the work for is?
Home Visit.
Home Visit. And
yeah.
And what does Home Visit offer? What is the work that is done?
Home Visit is a real estate multimedia provider between photography, video, virtual tours. We incorporate drones. Like I said, we do movie as well, but primarily virtual tours and straight photography, high-end photography.
What really sets this type of real estate work off from just the normal real estate photographer just comes in and shoots each room?
A couple of things. One is knowledge. I mean, we're all, the beauty of Home Visit is if you look at any home that we shoot, virtually all of them look the same. You generally speaking think that we only have 1, maybe 2 photographers. You wouldn't know that, there's a couple dozen photographers at any given time out there. There's 10 or 12 of us in New Jersey alone, but our work looks very similar because we have it set up in such a way, hello Bush, we have it set up in such a way that the way we work, there's a level of quality that's maintained across the boards by all of us, which you don't get with every company. That's part of the draw for somebody like me to go to Home Visit, because I take pride in what I do and I want to make sure everyone else on board is doing the same thing I am.
And not only is like the standards of practice, the not even just like the exposure that you're supposed to use and the quality that the image is supposed to be and the editing, man, this tree, and the editing process, but the actual equipment that's being used is is it identical or just for the most part very similar between everybody?
We all shoot full frame. We all shoot with wide angle lens. Any brand you want, I mean, we've got everybody, I think we might even have like is it a Fuji guy maybe? I know we have Sony shooters.
Is it a specific focal length for the wideness?
You have to have at least a 17 millimeter. Most of us are shooting 16. Some guys are shooting 15. But 15 to 17 is our prime. So that's where we want to be, is right in that range.
And so you're doing a lot of like panning and leveling, making sure the lines are straight. You're not just going in and there's a whole technique to it and a whole system that not only that you use just by the experience of being a photographer, but a whole system that is used because you were educated on home visits system to then put in place.
Right. I mean, because I did real estate photography before home visit. I mean, I've been around the real estate industry for like, at this point, oh my gosh, at this point, 15 years. And I shot real estate listings back then. That was actually how I made money when I first started out with my license, was shooting other realtors' homes for them. So I've been around it for a long time, but the home visit standard, the way they train people to do things is not entirely different. I mean, the industry is kind of coming up to a certain standard. At least companies like ours are kind of coming up to a certain standard. But I still would put ours up against anybody's that's out there.
Yeah, so the cool part is that not only will it be photos in the listing, but the agents actually have a URL, a website that they can go to for a full virtual tour that I like to say that it looks like it's Google Street View of somebody's house.
That's really what it looks like. And they don't all get that because we don't do it with our standard cameras. We use a Matterport camera, which is crazy cool. Looks like something out of Star Trek. The agents love it. The sound it makes is hysterical because you hear this whirring sound because motors are built into it. This thing scans and pans, and so it's really neat. So when they order that, we actually create like a whole website for them that has not only the photos but also has that virtual tour and dollhouse view. And
that's an upsell. That's an upsell for home visit to do for the agents, really. Yes. So an agent might normally hire a local real estate photographer for a couple hundred maybe, and then they can hire a home visit for something even more professional, that's more consistent and higher end, and then they can upsell. Then home visit can then upsell even further to get this whole tour thing.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm sure there's other upsells that you do, like the video and things like that. So
elevated shots, drone shots. I mean, there's a lot of different options that we have for agents to add on if they want them.
Are you doing drone yet?
I am not doing drone yet. Coming soon. I'm working on it. I'm studying for the FAA license because home visit's not doing a ton of it here. Right now, we only have one guy who's doing drone work. But the thing is, he's awesome. As a matter of fact, I'm the one who got him in with home visit. He's a really good guy. But he's FAA licensed, and if you're going to do this kind of work and you're going to be flying a drone, you've got to have that FAA license.
Yeah.
So I'm studying, and I'll go for it. And soon, once I know that they're going to really launch here with it, then I'll be all about that.
DJI just announced the DJI Spark. Did you see that thing?
Yeah.
That thing is tiny. I still want the what is it called? The Mavic. I want that because
that's really cool.
It's not as tiny, a little bit higher quality, but still super compact.
Absolutely. Easy to carry around.
Yeah, but that Spark is one tiny little thing. We just went to Rook Coffee. You didn't try it yet?
Not yet.
Yeah.
It is really hot, so.
It is very hot.
Oh, that's good coffee. Can I just say hi to Javon? just while I'm drinking my Rook coffee.
So our friend Javon is a true coffee snob, and I will be sure to link to Javon's Instagram, where you can find lots of great coffee photos in the description below. But Javon has never tried Rook Coffee, and it's so good. It's a local chain here in Monmouth County, New Jersey, and I think there's now 8 or 9 of them in Monmouth County, and Javon's only tried their cold brew to go, like glass growlers. I got him one. He's never tried a fresh, hot coffee. So
this is really good. Here's to you, Javon.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. That is very good coffee.
Yeah, it is.
And this tree loves me.
So it's a very windy day today. So if you're watching this and you hear the wind, and if you hear the flags above, which I will get some B-roll of after we're done, it is very windy and these flags are flopping. So if you hear it in the video, that's why. What actually is in your gear bags, plural, for all these realty shots that you do?
Depends. Day like today, just did a shoot this morning. It was straight photos, and honestly, that bag is a couple of spare batteries just in case. Plenty of AA's, a Canon 430EX flash. I think it's a 2, might be a 3, and a Canon 5D and Mark II, and obviously the 16 to 35 millimeter lens. That is just the standard photos. Obviously a tripod. That's key. You have to have an absolutely stable tripod.
Heavy.
Yeah, I use a heavy Vanguard with a Manfrotto head, and I'll tell you what, it feels like bulletproof. Like I really, it's I could hurt somebody with it if I needed to. But then
just like the tree's hurting you right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's crowded me. Maybe I should go get my tripod and give it a beat down.
Why don't we go to that table?
All right, we can move to that table.
We just moved because this tree, as you'll see right there, keeps falling over onto the table. It is attached to the pole, to that cement brick, whatever pillar, but it's kind of annoying. So that's for just the heavy tripod, all that other equipment. That's all for just the standard photos that you do, not for the virtual tour. That's a whole different system. That's a heavy machine that's very Star Trek based.
Yeah, it's called the Matterport camera, and they are awesome. First of all, the company, Matterport, the company, they're really, really good people, and they make a nice product. I'm not saying that as a plug. I'm saying that because I've done virtual tours. This is by far the coolest thing I've used. I know there are other companies that do it as well, but it's a really cool machine because not only does this thing go in and create these virtual tours, but as it's panning around and getting these images of these rooms, it's also scanning for measurements. So we actually build floor plans for these agents based on those measurements. So that's a really nice feature. That's another little upgrade that we can just build an actual floor plan for them based on going through and doing this 3D scan. That requires a different tripod, but it's just the Matterport camera, the tripod, and an iPad, because you control the camera from the iPad. Everything you're doing is from there. And
is it fully automated, or do you have to actually change settings and
I
choose?
I never change settings. I just turn it on
and it goes.
And it goes.
Yeah, it's a nice upsell then, because it's very little work.
It is. All I have to do is walk around with it. I put it in place. I scan. I go to the next position. I mean, you have to know the camera. You have to know how far you can go with it. I can't cover 20 feet with 2 scans. You know what I mean? Like, I have to stop every few feet. But that's also what gives you that feel of walking through the house. And that's really what you're after, is making it feel like...
Yeah, and it does. It does feel like you're walking through the house.
It does. You want it. I mean, it works with, like, the VR goggles.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. So when you put those on and you use this thing, you're like, wow.
I can't imagine, like... I've never really used a VR system, but I can't imagine. I would feel like my body would want to actually walk.
Hey, I've heard stories of people walking into walls because they're standing in their living room, and why they would try to do this you have to sit down and do it. You have to.
But it'd be interesting to actually go to the house while looking on VR and walking through and see how precise it is, how it actually matches up.
That would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah, it would be really cool. I wonder how I'm sure it's pretty darn precise, but I'd imagine I
just
do wonder.
The depth perception factor of it would be, because I mean, reaching out, that would be kind of cool though.
That would be neat. Yeah, I like it.
Might have to try it now.
What else?
And that's got a different tripod too.
Oh yeah, that thing's got to have a really heavy one, I'm sure.
It does, and the head is heavy, and it's actually got a thicker bolt, so it's not like your standard. What is it, like 2 5/8 for your standard, and then this one's actually a thicker thread. But it has to be, because
so is it more of a light stand than a tripod?
No, it's a tripod. Is it
a steel tripod or aluminum?
Nope, Gizmodo carbon fiber.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I'll tell you what, it's really, really stable. It kind of surprised me for as lightweight as it was, how stable it was. But yeah, it's actually a really rock solid. And the thing is once you're set, the only time you're adjusting legs or anything is when you're going up and down the stairs. Otherwise, you really don't have to do much of anything with it. So it's, you just press the scan button on the iPad and and you gotta hide.
They make little things, mini things that hold, like mini padding things that hold iPhones. Mm-hmm. That will actually do sort of the same thing, doing a full 360 automatic and stuff. But
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like having a legit camera that's designed for it is a little bit more professional.
It's really cool looking too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just all these like different looking lenses and lights on it, and yeah, I mean, it doesn't actually light anything, but it just looks like it does. So
yeah. On the topic of upsell, I'm actually writing an article right now all about upselling with video, and as you know, I'm now doing video. So I'm trying to find ways that I can incorporate video into my own business. So knowing that there's another avenue besides from the walkthroughs, another avenue with video to do upsells, that's a good thing.
Absolutely. And realtors love the video.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah. So I wanted to share one bit of news as well before I finish up this video. I decided to do a new photography project which is underway, and I'm calling it Knowing Steven. And for anybody who's been following my work for a while, you know that I use the last name Wyden for my photography because of my biological father and my grandfather. My biological father died before I was 2, and I didn't have a chance to know him, of course. Obviously, I was under 2. And through a recent conversation with my father-in-law, I realized I really don't know as much as I thought I did about him. So this project, Knowing Steven, is going to be my way of learning more about my biological father by documenting my conversations with family and with friends who knew him when he was young, and just knew him throughout his life. And I'm going to document through video with this camera and with stills and record everything and put together a video documentary and a photo book of the conversations. I want to be able to show how these people looked while they were telling me their stories, because I think that'll be very powerful, not only for me, but for them as well. And I think that like my mother doesn't really talk about him much, and I'm sure it's because it hurts to talk about him. So when I sit down with my mother to talk, I feel like I'm going to see emotions that I've probably never seen from her before. So it should be really interesting. I'm starting this project probably mid-July, I think, is when I'll be starting it. But I'm getting the details down and starting to invite people to join me in conversations. So stay tuned for more on Knowing Steven.